Hello everyone, Chaos God here. As you know, I have finally finished playing Warlord The Fallen Dynasty, and naturally, it's time for a boss tier list. So I have 5 categories: great, good, okay, garbage, and no. I will be ranking their both of the gameplay wise, aesthetic wise, and how much fun I had with the boss. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the boss tier list. Zhang Liang, General of Man. As the very first boss, I think he was great. I must say he trains you how to do the parry properly, helps you, learn the parry timing, etc. Generally, it's a very difficult boss for a newcomer and for veteran player as well. It took me a while to defeat this guy, but overall, I'm very happy. Aesthetic, it's a humanoid boss, so nothing can be said about him. He had a good big hammer. So he's quite slow and predictable telegraphically. But if he hits you at the beginning of the game, he will take out a big chunk of your health. So, definitely a great boss. Second, I think second boss was somewhere around the monkey, Zhuyan. I have no idea how to pronounce it correctly. Um, you know what? I think I would place the monkey as okay. There are quite a few moves, like the red moves, very hard to parry, and does decent chunk of damages. But with the help of NPC Zhao Yun, when you're playing the map, I think the distraction NPC is having really makes this boss fight a little bit easier. Alright, moving on. The next one is Banshee, the big bull. The big bull, I'm leaning towards being either okay or good. I'm going to place the big bull in the okay tier for now. It's quite difficult, but I think I have got the first try. I killed the boss because again, was a filthy casual player, having the NPC next to me, distracting the boss. Meanwhile, I was just, on the side, dealing the damages. I think it was okay. There are a few, let's say, running around the red moves is hard to parry, but overall, it was a okay boss. Next one. I believe next one is somewhere around, let's say, Zhangbao, General of Earth. I think he was the very first boss introduced the shadow clones, and he also summons other enemies trying to distract you. He has a lot of like a ring-shaped AoEs, which it's kind of cool to see it. But overall, it's not a super difficult boss, so I'm going to place him in the good tier for now. Zhang Jiao, General of Man. Now, I believe I have defeated Zhang Jiao on my first try with the help of NPC. Again, wasn't a particular difficult boss. Was it cool? It was like a demon of hatred type of deal, but much weaker. So I am going to place him. You know what? I think it's pretty good because he had a lot of kind of vague attack. It's hard to tell where is it hitting, and he also had lightning attacks as well. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm going to place him in a good tier. Next. Aoye. Oh my god. So Aoye, or the Japanese name Goetsu, it was probably the first war I'm hitting inside the game. it took me so long to defeat this guy, and I think because of this guy, eventually I have to change my weapon. So prompts to you, oh yeah. It's very difficult, very chunky, has very high health. Took me such long time to get used to the movesets. But ultimately, I think it was a great boss. Very intimidating. The aesthetic is like the cow demon with a bunch of tentacles. I think it has 2 or 3 red attacks. All of the timings are pretty difficult, especially the one is like tackles you. That one took me a while to get used to, but I think it definitely deserved the great boss tier. Okay, next one we have Baisher, the snake lady. She uses poison, not a surprise. Little bit, it reminds me a little bit of one of the boss from Dark Souls 2, Mithra. And it has a lot. She has a long reach moves. But again, because I took the NPC with me, I think it was a fairly easy fight. The poison is not dealing a lot of damages as long as you have enough heals. I would place her in the OK tier. Good boss, good boss. Next, we have Zhang Rang. Now, Zhang Rang is a gimmick boss. He is not particularly strong, but is super annoying. So if you didn't know, he has a lot of shadow clones, basically. And he really requires you to master how you toggle between the target locks. The target locks is such a difficult, how should I say, to control it, because you could just accidentally target lock onto a different person you want to attack. Was he garbage? I think so. He is definitely a very annoying boss to fight, so I'm going to place him in a garbage tier. Okay, moving on. After Zhang Rang, it's Lupu Liufu Hosen. Man, do I have to say anything about him? Definitely a great boss. He taught me how to block, basically. When he was in the human forms, riding the horse, he would kept shooting the arrows at you, and you can either parry it or block it. So he taught me, whenever you are parrying, you probably should hold down the block button in case your parry fails. So that case, it will minimize the damage you take. All of his red attacks are very difficult in terms of timing, and sometimes when he is on a horse, the red attacks can be a little bit finicky. So yeah, Lupu, the human form, is a great boss. It took me so long to be able to defeat him. But luckily, I was using a water type weapon, which is very effective against his fire type weapon. Okay, so that is Lupu. Who is next? I think the next is Tao Tie. Or Tao Tie? It's a massive, like, abomination monster. I think I would place him in a garbage tier because I was able to clear it, defeat it on my first try. Basically, the mechanics behind this fight is just keep attacking his legs until he falls, then do the critical attack. He does, spoiler alert, he does has a surprise kind of second phase, similar to the guardian monkey, the guardian ape in Sekiro. where you thought you have defeated the boss, but in fact, it has a second phase. Again, I have brought my NPC with me, so it's a pretty easy fight. Not too much problem with this fight. Next, I believe we have Sun Jian. Sun Jian, well, spoiler alert again, Sun Jian has been corrupted by the Taoist, so he transformed into a tiger beast. The first time I encountered Sun Jian, it wasn't a big deal because I have two other NPCs helping me, trying to overwhelm the boss, and I was able to defeat him very easily. But during the last mission, I can't remember the mission name, he was there as the final boss for the submission, and I was fighting him one-on-one. He was pretty difficult. There are a few of his moves very hard to learn the timings, dodge, and learning his moveset was very fun. So I think I am going to place him, maybe not as a great boss, but I will place him at the top of the good tier. So that is Sun Jian. Next boss is going to be Kakoton. Xiahou Dun. Again, he got corrupted and became a demon. I think I didn't see enough of him to make a judgment, so I'm going to place him in the OK tier. Because again, I have overwhelmed this boss with two of my other NPCs. I was able to defeat him fairly easily without him causing me too much troubles. So, OK tier, Kakoton. Next one, we have... I freaking love Zhang Liao. He was so cool. He has a dual sword and he has lightning attacks where he kind of slashes like a whirlwind. He also have the divine beast with him to enhance his lightning attacks. He was pretty difficult when I was fighting him one-on-one. It took me 2 or 3 tries. But again, during the story, I was bullying him with 2 of my other NPCs. Was able to defeat him, but I really enjoy fighting against him one-on-one, and I really like his design. Well, leave alone, his wings. It may look goofy at the first time, but the lightning attacks was very cool. I love it. Alright, after Zhang Liao, Lu Bu, the demon form. The demon form, in my opinion, is a downgrade. It was still a pretty good boss fight. Looks very intimidating. It's basically him fusing up with the red hair, the red horse, together become like a centaur. You can definitely see some, how should I say, human form Lu Bu's moveset being inherited to the demon form, but it's not that difficult and doesn't have any shocking factors to me personally, so I'm going to place him in the good tier. Alright, moving on. Next, I think I forget Don't Draw here. Don't Draw, he is a pretty good boss. Few of his moves are kind of a weird timing, so I'm going to place him in the OK tier. Again, I have bought another 2 NPCs, so I was able to defeat him fairly easily. Next one, Liu Bei. Not the side mission, the main mission. I think I really like Liu Bei's design when he turned into the demon. It looks so cool when he fused with the dragon, Qinglong. He basically is like a dragon human. He can float in the air with the antennas and the scales with the dual sword. Again, I think I personally really enjoy the dual sword characters. Now I see a pattern. The fight itself, it's not really anything can be said about it. A few strong attacks, but it's quite easily to counter them, parry them. Um, so yeah, that is a Liu Bei. Great boss. Next one we have Yuan Shao. He was pretty garbage, I must say. As a late game or end game boss, he is pretty lame in terms of slow movement, not too much not too much cool move sets. Reminds me Blastoise from Pokemon, where he just shooting with the water. It's a little bit overlapping with Aoye. The existence is completely kind of overlapping. Not a fan. Not really a fan of Yuan Shao in the demon form. But the sword and shield is a very cool concept, using the Genbu, the Xuanwu Divine Beast, where the tortoise is the shield and the snake is some kind of like a whip. That is cool. I think just because his design, I think I'm going to bump him up back to OK tier. Alright, that is Yuan Shao. Next, I think we have Yuji, the Taoist in black, the mastermind. In human form, it's pretty garbage, let's be honest. I don't remember at all how his fight ended, how weak he was. I don't remember at all when he was in human form. So, pretty garbage, not a fan. Very, very weak. Maybe because I have the NPCs, who knows. But moving on, when he has combined with the dragon, that fight, I think I'm going to put that fight into no tier. The fight, the design of the boss is very cool, but personally I'm not a fan of the fight. I think that particular fight requires you to use a camera free or lock on free, so it's kind of like a fighting in the Monster Hunter where you don't lock onto the monster. You need to run around and dodge and attack by manually controlling your camera. I have no idea how I ended up defeating this boss because I had so much difficult time with this boss. I find it very hard to attack this boss. So this is definitely the first boss I do not want to fight and see it again, ever. So embodiment of the demonic chi? Hell no. You can go to the hell and never come back again. I just realized I have missed Wenchou and Yanliang. The kind of like Onstein and a small kind of boss, which you fight two of them at the same time. I think I will place them in the good OK tier. It's pretty good, where Yanliang kept reviving after you defeated him. That was kind of a shock factor to me, so I don't think I have a difficulty with them, but pretty good idea, so I'm going to put them in the OK tier. Now, moving on to the final boss. Spoiler alert, if you didn't play the game, now is your time. The final boss is the blindfolded boy. I think he's pretty strong, but he didn't leave me a strong impression in terms of, oh, that is pretty difficult. I think he is genuinely very tanky, has a high health, and hits you very hard. There is one particular move I find is so difficult to dodge. But I don't think personally I'm going to put him as a great boss. I'm just going to place him as a good boss, because he gave me a fair amount of challenge. Hits hard, looks pretty cool. but kind of underwhelming as well, in terms of design, of course. I understand the lore, but the design is kind of underwhelming. It's just a guy with blindfolded. Cool, I'm not going to rate the other side mission bosses, so here you go. That is going to be my final version of Warlord bosses tier list. Let me know down in the comment sections below if you have played the game, what do you think about the game, and do you agree or disagree with my tier list. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.